Welcome back to the 24th floor. Let's talk about the question nobody in Memphis wants to ask out loud. Are the Grizzlies tanking? They're riding 20. They're 20-33 as of the time of this recording, riding a 4-game losing streak, and they're just 2 wins in the last 10. They've got the 8th worst record in the NBA. This all comes right after trading Jaren Jackson Jr.
They were already not doing good before then, though. So, yeah. John Morant's still sidelined, even if he's healthy soon. A lot of us wondering if he's even going to play, what the direction is going to be there. Are they trying to compete? They're trying to position themselves for the lottery? I think we all know the answer to these questions.
Well, let's be honest. When you trade a cornerstone star like Jaren Jackson Jr. and the losses, they keep piling up. That raises real questions. And we know the Grizzlies GM has signaled a rebuild, but is it really this blatant? And could the Grizzlies eventually be next in line to be fined like Utah and Indiana? So we bring in a friend of the program, one of the top voices in all of Grizzlies media. He's the Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, and he's also on Locked On Grizz. I didn't even know about this.
Man, I don't know how you didn't know that.
Welcome back to the program, our guy, Damichael Cole.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good to be here, guys. Good to be here.
It's been a minute, man.
It's been a while. It's been a little minute.
The last time he was on, Avery was on.
Avery was here. Avery was here. Yep.
Smart
Times
world.
have changed, both here and for the Grizzlies.
Yeah. Times have definitely changed. The thing about a tank is there's no definitive definition for it, like what it looks like, how much is a team, how far is a team willing to go in order to achieve, the optimal goal, which is, a high draft pick. And you have some teams where we just saw they got fined because, it just felt so blatant what they were doing in order to attain the high draft pick. But in other teams' cases, you just aren't good enough. Right? And right now with the Grizzlies, with all the injuries that they're going through and things like that, like it's a situation where, one, you're understanding that you're not good enough, and they got a tough schedule here coming up in the second half of the season. So I don't think it's going to be a point where they're going to be blatantly pulling guys out a lot to the point where they're going to be fined or anything like that. But you're definitely looking at a situation where the Grizzlies are going to prioritize some of those things that are prioritized during the tank. We're talking about the fact that a team will prioritize their younger players, prioritize development, those type of things over winning.
So when you look at this team, if you were a fan, what makes you want to continue to tune in to this team? Because it seems like it seems across all Memphis sports, whether it's the Grizzlies or the Tigers, fans are starting to check out.
Yeah, you gotta kind of embrace the growth of the younger players. That's just what you got to do. You can't go into these games saying, I want to beat the top teams and beat up on the top teams. You're going to get disappointed. You're setting yourself up for a huge disappointment. But if you go into those games saying, man, Cedric Howard's been one of the top rookies this season, can he continue to show those improvements to give us something to be excited about going into next season? Zach Edey, in the 11 games that he played, he looked like one of the best second-year players in the NBA. Can he continue to show that? That's kind of the things that you want to see as you go forward through the rest of the season, because at the end of the day, you're not going to see a lot of wins.
Well, but isn't that part of the NBA city life, right? Like some years you're winning and you're heading, you're heading to the playoffs, and other years you're trying to play for a draft position. And I've heard people say, hey, fans just got to accept NBA life.
Yeah, and you got to know when to pull the plug. And in the case of the Grizzlies, they felt like, look, the Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane era had its run, but they feel like they've capped out. They feel like at this point, we have an understanding that this team, this era, is not going to reach championship goals. Championship goals are the goals. That's what the Grizzlies have kind of said, out loud. So if that's the case, you got to rip the carpet up. It's like if you got a big stain in the carpet, right? You're either going to get some of that spray and spray out that one big stain, or you're just going to rip the whole thing up, and they're choosing to do that. Yeah.
So, Damichael, let's go quick rapid fire. I made a full screen of, the tankathon of, where the Grizzlies are as far as draft lotteries.
For sure.
As of right now, the Grizzlies have the 8th worst record in the NBA.
Right.
So they're, okay, let's just say the draft started today. And let's say that whole firm. If you're a Grizz fan, do you kind of like the 8th pick? Or how do you kind of look at these college guys? Because we talk about it a lot on this program.
Yeah, it's a super nice class. I mean, I love this class. I love the fact that you have the high-end talent. I love the fact that the Grizzlies have put themselves in a position where they don't have to say, oh, we need a center.
Yes.
Oh, we need a point guard. They can just take the approach of getting the best player available and say, oh, if that's the best guy available, we can just go out to him, because other than Zach Edey at center, everything else is versatile. Cedric Coward, he can play shooting guard. He can play small forward. So if you want to go get a shooting guard, he'll slide over to small forward. You get a small forward, he can slide over to shooting guard. You still, we'll see what happens with the whole Ja Morant saga and things, but you're probably going to be in a position where you need to go get a point guard. Jaren Jackson Jr. is gone. You need a power forward. The 8th pick, I think there will still be some high-end talent there. We could look at Kinston Flemings from Houston.
That kid.
Darius Acuff at Arkansas. Those Calipari guards, we know those turn out pretty good usually. So I think depending on where they land will kind of dictate, what type of player they can get. If they're more at the top, you're talking about a high-end guard, more of a wing to big type of guy with the forwards there. But if you're in that mid-range where you say 8th, 9th pick, I think point guard is probably going to be the play.
Well, and there's so much. We've talked about how deep this class is compared to, in my mind, and compared to like the last 3 or 4 classes. This class has a lot of talent. So even if you're a Grizz fan, you say, well, if we're in that 8th spot or whatever, we get the 8th pick, we're still going to get a quality player. You mentioned the kid from Arkansas, Acuff. Phenomenal. Dude can straight play. Flemings from Houston can play. I mean, those are great picks.
Yeah. Exactly, and then you got to remember that the Grizzlies will have 2 first-round picks. They have the 2nd first-round picks, which right now is hovering around lottery to right outside of the lottery that they'll get from the Orlando Magic. So they'll be in a position where they can kind of play it that way too, where they say, hey, look, this is the guy we want to get at 8. Let's see what's going to be out there at 16, 17, and kind of get a player that can complement, that type of player. So I think from a draft standpoint, this is the year, which is why we're seeing teams kind of excessively tanking away. This is the year to kind of go find those young star players.
Damichael, we got to get you out of here in just a moment, but just really quick, and you don't have to go too off on it. Do you think we see Ja Morant play again this season?
Right now, I don't think so.
Not even like the last homestand? You don't think you see him in the last home game?
Not right now. And again, we'll learn here in the near future, kind of just get some updates on just where his status is. But even beyond that, there's just other factors that, depending on how those things go, we'll see if he's going to even be around the team as much as he's been. But I don't see him playing right now.
Damichael Cole, we can catch him on the Locked On Grizz, which I'm just getting put on to. You can catch his great work on the Commercial Appeal. This guy's everywhere. We took up a lot of his time. He's on the DMC tour. You're going to catch him on a lot of different media forums.
Appreciate you, man.
Well, appreciate your knowledge and your information. I'm sure the people at home are glad to hear somebody besides just us say the things we've been saying.
For sure.
Damichael, thanks for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's the best thing we saw.
Yeah, you won't want to miss it.